Yeah.
To Diane's point, Jeff Bleimeister, Bleimeister, Chief of Police.
Diane. Is everybody ready? All right. Well, good morning. I'm here today to brief you on local developments regarding the coronavirus and Lincoln's preparedness efforts. First, however, I want to acknowledge just what a challenging time this is for all of us. We face an extraordinary moment in our history, one that is bringing with it extraordinary disruption to our daily lives. If there's anything this pandemic has revealed to us, it's just how interconnected all of us are. While our interconnectedness makes us vulnerable to a virus, it is precisely that connectedness that will see us through to our recovery. And I know this to be true because Lincoln is a community of people who, at their core, believe in something bigger than themselves. It's a community of people who don't often talk about how they contribute to the greater good or how they serve their fellow community members. They just do it without fanfare, without want of recognition. It's a community of people who, in the face of adversity, do not harden or withdraw, but reach out and lift one another up. Like during the floods, historic floods we experienced last spring when so many Lincoln residents conserved water to protect our water supply or contributed to flood relief efforts. Or like the Lincoln restaurant owner who provides a meal to everyone who is hungry, regardless of their ability to pay, and regardless of whether times are lean or plenty for their restaurant. Or like the volunteers who are organizing over the weekend to assist with the delivery of backpacks of food to LPS students who depend on them to keep from going hungry. These are the people who make up our community, and they are the heart of the Heartland. Our Heartland community is now at a critical juncture. The novel coronavirus and the disease it causes, COVID-19, have been declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization, and this virus will impact our city like it has impacted other cities. Although we continue to have no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Lincoln at this moment, it's just a matter of time before we do. It is imperative that we prevent the number of cases from rising too quickly and overwhelming our healthcare system. This is what we mean by flattening the curve. If the number of cases of COVID-19 escalates too fast, then we will not have enough hospital beds and equipment to treat everyone who needs care. So we must slow the spread of the virus to give our healthcare system a chance to treat everyone who may get it. Because no one has immunity to the virus, the risk of it spreading quickly when it does take root in our community is high. That is why today I'm declaring a local emergency, and we'll be asking the City Council to affirm that emergency declaration at their afternoon meeting today. This follows declarations made by both the state and federal government, and for similar reasons. This step will allow us to deploy the resources necessary to manage what will continue to be a rapidly evolving situation. It'll allow us to get potential federal and state reimbursement to crisis-related expenses and to access emergency reserve funds if needed. In addition to declaring this local emergency, the city is issuing revised guidance for public gatherings and events. We put out a press release just last night, 7 p.m., on this topic, and that was only a short hour before the CDC issued revised guidelines on this topic, limiting gatherings and public events to 50 people or less. We are following the CDC's revised guidelines, and we will publish them on our website by the end of today. Now, I would like to speak to a number of additional steps the city is taking to address this public health emergency. First, we are committed to continuing critical city services. Several weeks ago, I directed all city department leaders to update their continuity of operations plans so that we are prepared and able to continue to provide essential city services upon which our residents depend. For the most part, city services are being executed with few changes. Like many businesses, we have adjusted some of our work in light of school closures and to reflect good public health practices during this pandemic. We have instituted a new telework policy so that city employees who are able and approved to work from home may do so. Our department directors are here today to share with you some of the steps they are taking to adapt to the challenges ahead. And we will allow each of them a turn to speak specifically to the changes in their departments. And first, I'd like to call up from Aging Partners, Randy Jones. And Randy, if you could again go through your full title and spelling of your name for the press.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. My name's Randall Jones, R-A-N-D-A-L-L, Jones. I am the Director of Aging Partners, which is a division of the City of Lincoln. Effective this coming Wednesday, all senior centers in Lincoln and Lancaster County will be closed. There's 10 centers across the county and city. We have contingencies. We're working with Tabitha, who will be preparing meals. We've identified the most frail that depend on our service centers for meals, and the city will be delivering meals to those frail residents. All of the events that are planned for Aging Partners in the coming weeks are suspended, including our health and fitness facility that's at 9th and J. We want to make sure that we express the need for families to begin to prepare themselves. Seniors are of particular risk due to health conditions, and we urge families to plan how they will care for their loved ones if someone in their home becomes ill. Friends, families, neighbors should check on the elderly regularly to make sure that they are healthy. Other ways to help would include offering to pick up food or medication for those seniors. The community depends on caregivers, people that are currently providing care to others, whether it's a family member or a professional. And we urge that service to continue, and we also ask families to stay in close touch with each other.
Hello, my name is Chad Blaha, C-H-A-D-B-L-A-H-A-K, and I serve as the director of the Building and Safety Department. And a couple of internal measures that we are taking currently is we are at our public counter where we see 60 plus individuals a day. We are increasing the frequency with which we are washing and cleaning the surface so that people who come to the counter know that we are taking care of that. We're also observing the recently approved policy for folks being able to work from home if they're available. Some of the procedures and allowances that we're making available to our customers coming up in the next week to 10 days, we are going to make available all applications that we receive for all permits and different records to be made electronically, and to eliminate or at least decrease the need for folks to come down to our public counter. We will also be making available for all of our contractors and developer customers who need to have a meeting or questions answered from our staff, make remote meetings available to them. As we roll out these new procedures, we ask that a little patience be made, that as we will make our best efforts to continue to perform the excellent customer service and adhere to the time frames for some of these permits and records. But a little patience may be necessary. Thank you.
Next from Libraries is Pat Leach.
I am Pat Leach, P-A-T-L-E-A-C-H, the Director of Lincoln City Libraries. Right now, all libraries remain open with their regular hours except for the Williams Branch Library, which is in Arnold Elementary School, and it will remain closed as long as public schools are not in session. And in helping the health department with its recommendation to encourage social distancing, all library programming and events have been canceled until further notice. We have changed all due dates on library materials to May 1st, so customers do not need to get out to return items, and there is never a fine on youth materials that are returned late. We are encouraging people to use our downloadable materials via our website. There's an app called Libby and another called Hoopla. Library staff is available to help people get started, being able to download ebooks and audiobooks and use those options. There's one particular resource that I would point out to people on our website. It's for children. It's called Tumble Books, and it reads books aloud to children and has other literacy kinds of activities on the website. That's called Tumble Books, and it's a great option for parents who will be working from home or for families who are hunkering down. So again, I encourage people to take a look at the library website for services available while they're at home.
Thank you. Next up is Pat Lopez from our Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department.
Good afternoon. My name is Pat, P-A-T, Lopez, L-O-P-E-Z. At this time at the Health Department, we are working day and night to monitor and assure our city safety and through our detection of the corona or COVID-19 virus. We're not changing any of our city services that we provide to the public at this time.
Is Pat Borer here? Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't see you behind the chief. Our third Pat in the cabinet.
Good afternoon. Patrick Borer, P-A-T-R-I-C-K, B-O-R-E-R, Interim Fire Chief for Lincoln Fire and Rescue. Lincoln Fire and Rescue has implemented a couple of procedures. The first one is our dispatchers are asking a couple of questions to people that call in and for a medical emergency. And if those questions are answered in the affirmative, then we will implement another practice. When we arrive on location, we knock on the door and ask people in the home if they are experiencing a cough or have a fever. And if they do, then we will don our appropriate PPE and go in and provide service to the community, to the family. So we've implemented those two measures in order to do two things. We want to, first of all, know if there are people that are potentially if they have the symptoms for COVID-19. And secondarily, we want to protect ourselves. We want to do that because we want to continue to provide good service to the community. And if my folks are sick, or the firefighters are sick, or responders are sick, they can't do that. So we want to make sure that they stay well and are protected, and we can continue to provide good service to the community. And we have a phone number and that people can call for more information. That number is 402-326-1348 for more information. Thank you.
Next, Chief Blimeister from Lincoln Police Department.
Good afternoon. Jeff Blimeister, B-L-I-E-M-E-I-S-T-E-R. The Lincoln Police Department continues to provide the same operational services that we have been. Similar to Chief Borer that he discussed, if you call in a non-emergent situation, like over 500,000 times that occurred last year, there's going to be some questions that the dispatchers are going to ask you. They're going to ask you if you are exhibiting a cough, fever, or shortness of breath. If those signs are present, then there's going to be notification made to the responding officers who are going to take some protective measures in order to minimize or mitigate the potential for the spread of any type of virus. But as of right now, all services remain the same. And again, we are working as a collective to ensure the safety of the citizens that we're serving and also our employees who will continue to be asked to do that.
Thank you. Next up, Elizabeth Elliott from LTU.
Hello, my name is Liz Elliott, E-L-L-I-O-T-T, and I am the Director of Lincoln Transportation and Utilities Department. LTU has taken a number of steps as we proceed through this. Our Transportation Division will continue all intelligent transportation systems, such as traffic signals, messaging signs, and cameras that can be operated remotely as needed. It is standard operating procedure to deploy on-call crews and contractors as required for any infrastructure emergency response. For more information, you can visit the transportation.lincoln.ne.gov, or you can call 441-7711. For our utilities department, we will continue to prioritize the health and safety of our customers and provide you with clean, safe drinking water and essential sanitation. Some of our non-essential activities will be discontinued, including water meter replacement and in-house water meter reading. If customers are unable to pay their bill, they are urged to contact Lincoln Water System at 402-441-7551. Lincoln Water System has temporarily suspended disconnections for non-payment of services, but the utility wants to help customers continue to make payment arrangements so they don't get further behind. Additionally, for more information, you can also visit water.lincoln.ne.gov, or you can call 402-441-7551. For our bus system, our StarTran, as a result of UNL and LPS closures, StarTran is modifying a few route schedules. Specifically, we are modifying the UNL bus routes 24 Holdridge and 25 Vine Street services will operate on a reduced service schedule through the summer. UNL routes 22 NIC City and 23 NIC East will be suspended until further notice. Additionally, booster routes, which provide services to a number of LPS schools, will be suspended while LPS is closed. Handy van services, however, will continue as normal. StarTran staff will continue to clean buses daily, and bus operators are equipped with hand sanitizer, disposable gloves, and masks. StarTran will soon be using electrostatic sprayer and disinfect spray to disinfect buses at the end of day. If you do want more information, please visit startran.lincoln.ne.gov, or you can call 402-476-1234. Thank you.
I just also want to add to that according to the EPA, there's no evidence of transmission of COVID-19 through water utilities. So while people normally do keep bottled water on hand in the event of emergency, there's no reason to go out and purchase additional bottled water or boil water because of the pandemic status of this coronavirus. Next up, I'd like to welcome Lynn Johnson from Parks and Rec.
Good afternoon. Lynn Johnson, LYNNJOHNSON, and I'm the Parks and Recreation Director here in Lincoln. On a daily basis, we have about 400 children who participate in before and after school programs, and those before and after school programs have been suspended during the LPS school closure at this point. We do have one exception of that. Typical of when we have other school closures, we're continuing to offer our Kids Day Off programs. So we are offering school-age programs to elementary school-age children who are already enrolled in our program at two locations, at Calvert Recreation Center and at Belmont Recreation Center. We have the capacity of each of those facilities for 30 children. And we continue to work with the health department, and we continue to monitor the situation, and if we get guidance, we will discontinue offering those programs. Many of our employees who work at our before and after school programs are UNL students, and without UNL's closure, we're not certain how many of those students will be leaving Lincoln. It may have an impact on the number of before and after school program sites or the capacity of those sites that we may be able to offer in the future if LPS or when LPS resumes school. The Adult Day Structure Program at Easter Day Recreation Center is now closed because of the work there with vulnerable populations. We have discontinued programs at a number of locations, preschool programs at Calvert and Irving Recreation Centers and at Pinehurst Park Nature Center have been discontinued. Our adaptive recreation club programs have been suspended. Senior ballroom dancing program that happens at Old Pavilion has been discontinued. And we're also suspending all programming and classes at recreation centers at this point. We are continuing to hire seasonal employees for summer work in park operations and golf course maintenance, at summer day camps, and at pools. And we are doing a number of those interviews by telephone at this point, and we've also modified our interview practices so that we can maintain good distance between the interviewees and our staff. One last closure I think we need to talk about is that Hyde Observatory at this point is closed until further notice. And if people are interested in about what's going on with Parks and Recreation programs, or maybe if they're looking things to do while children are out of school, they can go to our website at parks.lincoln.ne.gov, or they can certainly phone our office at 402-441-7847.
Thank you, Lynn. And just to emphasize, the Parks Department is using social distancing measures in the child care facilities where they are still continuing to operate. Next, we have Kevin Wales here from the Lincoln Electric System. Appreciate you being with us today, Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Kevin Wales, Kevin Wales. I'm CEO of Lincoln Electric System. Like everyone here, we understand how critical the services that we provide are. Electric service is certainly critical, and it's important that we not only keep the community safe, but our employees safe so we can continue to provide those services. So we've taken a number of measures internally with respect to social distancing, staging employees from different facilities to make sure that we're trying to keep that in the event that we do have the virus appear in the workforce, that we could try to separate that as well. On top of that, as we announced last week, we too have suspended disconnection for non-payment of bills. We're also waiving late fees. And as of today, we're closing our business office to the public. We offer several different methods for payment, including telephone, online, and we have several other retail locations, all of which are available if you look online to determine where you can actually pay your bills as well. So we continue to have the interest in doing everything we can to maintain critical services. We see no problems that we're aware of. We're actually working with national groups with respect to supply chain concerns for the industry. I think one of the things we'd like to suggest to people is that they be very careful with cybersecurity right now. There's a lot of people that are going to be bad actors, if you will, that are trying to take advantage of that. So we wouldn't want that to be something that happened from someone looking for our services or other services, or potentially looking at coronavirus maps. Be careful about where you go online, because this isn't a ripe opportunity for people who want to make basically bad decisions. So thank you.
My phone just had a reminder to breathe, and I want to offer that to all of you too. I want to remind everyone that for most of the population, people will continue to be healthy, or if they are impacted by the virus, they will recover fully. We are taking these precautions to protect the most at-risk and vulnerable members of our community and to protect our healthcare system. And it's important that we take it seriously, but it's also important to remember to take a deep breath and stay calm throughout this experience. And I want to reassure you that in the days ahead, our administration will continue to work around the clock to provide you with information on this rapidly evolving situation. For the most accurate, up-to-date information on the virus and on common sense prevention measures like good hand washing, hygiene, and social distancing, please continue to visit our health department's website at health.lincoln.ne.gov. In addition, we will continue to work with leaders from all levels of the government and all sectors of our community on devising solutions to minimize the effects of COVID-19 on people's health, livelihoods, and pocketbooks. Ultimately, the people of Lincoln are going to be the solution to this crisis. The virus has demonstrated that we are all connected in more ways than we can possibly imagine. And the seemingly small actions of one person, for good or for ill, can reverberate in profound ways. I know that the residents of Lincoln are going to rise to this challenge because they already are. That's who we are as a community here in the Heartland. People are washing their hands more frequently, staying home when they're sick, and maintaining a healthy physical distance from one another. And right now, these seemingly small acts are the most heroic things that people can do. So I'd like to conclude by saying thank you to everyone out there performing heroic everyday acts, large and small, for our common good. From the person volunteering to run errands for her elderly neighbor, to the kids who are writing get well letters, to those who are quarantined, to the local businesses who are committing to financially support their employees even when they're not able to work. Lincolnites are stepping up where they can, and it's truly inspiring. Our administration will continue to provide updates like this on what the government is doing to protect the health and safety of our residents, but we also will provide updates on what our residents are doing to support the health, safety, and well-being of our community. Here are just a few examples of some of the positive steps that you can take to support our community. Consider reaching out to those who you know may be high risk and ask how they're doing and check in with them regularly. See if you can provide support to them, like making a grocery run. Start a group text with your neighbors to keep up on one another's health and needs. If you're fortunate enough to be able to work from home and can still earn your normal salary, commit to paying someone who provides you with a service, such as a hairdresser, a house cleaner, or a babysitter, even if they have to stay home. Consider helping local businesses stay afloat by purchasing gift cards for future use, or by ordering online or ordering in. If you have the means, donate to trusted local nonprofits and food banks. You can start a virtual book club or arrange virtual play dates. It's important that we stay connected to one another, even though it's through phones and computers. We cannot let social distancing lead to emotional distancing. This is a time to lift one another up, to answer the call to be our best selves. We've done this before, and we can rise to this challenge here and now. Thank you, and at this point, we'd be happy to take any questions. Go ahead.
What measures are you exploring or looking into to sort of help the city's economy weather the likely slowdown and kind of the hit that businesses will take from the closure of big events, and Marathon being the most recent?
Right, that's an important question, and one that we are working to develop solutions to. You know, initially, I think businesses were thinking this was a supply chain issue, and that's quickly becoming a demand side issue, and concern about how to continue to pay employees. We are working with the Chamber and the Lincoln Independent Business Association to reach out to businesses to try to understand their particular top priority needs and concerns so that we can pull together community response, both in the public and private sector.
And this might be a better question for Pat, but how do you guys plan to enforce not having more than 50 people at social gatherings?
I think at this point, we know how the Lincolnites work and how they respond, and we expect that people will self-enforce that 50 limit. People are already doing that, self-distancing and canceling going out into other places. We know that people who have underlying health conditions are over 60. We have multiple examples of people already doing that.
Yeah, so we're basically just relying on the people to do this. There's not going to be like, law enforcement getting involved. We're just relying on people to do this themselves.
That's not, at this point in time, we're not planning on having a law enforcement situation.
Building off of
Can I just reiterate? We currently have no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in our community, and many of the steps we're taking now are to get out in front of the day that we do. We are fortunate that we have the ability to draw upon the experiences of other less fortunate communities who are already further down the path of this pandemic, and we're learning from them, and we're preparing to take steps as needed. But at this time, we are fortunate in Lincoln that we do not have to take measures like the one you just referred to. Yes.
So building off of Jared's question, and tomorrow being St. Patrick's Day, what have we told the service industry, and how will we manage that potential for large crowds, say people aren't listening?
We know one of our largest events, that organizer has agreed to graciously, in looking at the needs of the public and that protection, to follow along with this recommendation.
Is Rick Tast here?
Yes.
Rick, could you just speak to the specific question about St. Patrick's Day and the vault? Just to confirm what Pat said, that we've had a local business owner who's voluntary
Yes.
work for the public good.
Rick Tast, R-I-C-K-T-A. Rick Tast, R-I-C-K-T-A-S-T, Assistant City Attorney with the City of Lincoln Law Department. As part of my role, I help with the Special Events Committee, and McKinney's Pub, owned by Joel Schwizow, was contacted earlier today, and he voluntarily agreed to call off his St. Patrick's Day festival that he was having. And we've had some other business owners contact us to let us know that they as well were going to suspend gatherings related to St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you. So as you can see, Lincolnites are already stepping up to do the right thing, and we are so grateful. We know this is a time of sacrifice for all, and that sacrifice is to protect the most vulnerable among us and those who are on the front lines providing care to those who may be directly affected and impacted by the virus.
So one more question. I just came from Waverly talking with the daycare providers, and they said, at least the people I talked to, they said they're going to keep up and running all the way through. Do we know that Lincoln daycare providers will be following in suit, following the same, or?
I'll let Director Lopez speak to that, but again, this is a rapidly evolving situation, and it's we're providing regular updates to account for how things may change in the future. But
I think what the mayor said is exactly what's happening in Lincoln. Last week, we did a virtual check-in with our daycare providers and listened to what their concerns were and worked with them. But again, as the mayor said, even last night was a great example. We issued the most current information at 7 p.m. and then again at 8 p.m. that situation had changed. So we're in direct contact with our child care providers in the community, and we'll continue to advise them and provide them information to make the best decision.
I guess my next question pertains more to LFR and LPD. Does doing the doorway triage, does that affect your jobs in any way, making it a little bit slower on responses, or how could that possibly affect it?
I'll speak specifically to LPD in that the directive that's been given to the communication center, which falls underneath the guise of the Lincoln Police Department, is that these are non-emergent calls. So these are belated calls for service where the expedient response is not dependent on life or injury. And so the reality is no, it's just a good practice to have to try to mitigate, once again, the spread of the virus once it comes into our community. And I can let Chief Bohr speak with.
As far as Lincoln Fire and Rescue is concerned, I would say yes. It creates a bit of a pause. When we arrive at the door, we're going to knock and we're going to ask, so that we create a pause. We do that intentionally, though, to protect our providers, to give them an opportunity to see if there is a reason to don PPE before we go in. So there's a slight pause. We don PPE, protect ourselves, and go in, yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Mayor and or department leaders, with building off of Director Blaha's sort of plan to put forms on the web as much as possible, I mean, how much of the city's services can citizens access just through the digital forum, through the individual department websites, and does the city sort of need to ramp up its ability to ready for any sort of community spread closure of government buildings?
Since taking office, one of the things my administration has been looking to do is to advance our efforts to move to a more paperless work environment. So those kinds of efforts were already underway with planned updates to our website, more and more people using Office 365 and getting in the cloud, partly for cybersecurity reasons. Yes, we will be accelerating some of those practices that we were already planning to implement, and we will be doing them in a prioritized order based on how it protects the health and safety of our residents. And if there are specific department directors who would like to speak to this issue, you're more than welcome to. But we definitely are looking to see how we can move to a virtual service, something we were already planning to do in many ways for the convenience of people, and now for more the protection of our employees and the public.
Riley, I'll speak to one example that hasn't been discussed so far. Historically, the Lincoln Police Department has had a set criteria of calls for service that citizens can, by choice, go to our webpage and make an online reporting. Once again, that service continues. We're internal discussions on when and why, what factors should consider expansion of that. But that's something that citizens could do today on belated theft reports would be one example. So.
Any other questions?
Just one more, sorry.
Yes.
Have
Don't
we
be
had-
sorry. We want to get all the information out there that we
Yeah,
can.
Absolutely. Do we have an update in numbers of how many tests have been done in Lancaster County? Last
Yes.
we checked, it was 9, I believe.
Yes, okay. This is an update as of 7:22 a.m. today. So if it has changed since then and you're aware of it, Pat, you can correct me. As of 7:22 a.m., we are currently monitoring 12 people due to their travel history or exposure in Lancaster County. Sorry, let me say that in a different way. In Lancaster County, we are currently monitoring 12 people due to their travel history or potential exposures. We've had 23 negative tests, and there's one that is pending results. Private labs began testing in Lincoln, are sending results electronically to the health department. So that's the status that I have as of this morning. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for being here. We'll get back to you with more updates as they are needed. Thank you. And thank you all. Thank you all for your leadership and your dedication. These people are working around the clock. These are the team that are working 24/7 to protect you, to keep you safe. I'm so pleased to see council members here, Council Member Washington, Council Member Christensen. We had Council Member Bowers here. They are going to be our partners in protecting the public as well. And this is a city team effort. And we're so lucky in Lincoln to have such a strong team. Thank you.